There you are, my beautiful people. Welcome back to another thrilling episode of the most disturbing videos on the internet today. For context, these videos are strictly for entertainment purposes only. Don't believe anything you hear or see on this video. Do your own research on everything. Without further ado, hit that like and subscribe button and let's dive in.
The first time I saw photos like these, I thought they were AI generated until I researched further. They're called ITC photos, led by researcher Hans Kennis. This work is both intriguing and very simple to do, so I had to give it a go. The next few are mine, and although they aren't as clear as other more experienced photographers, they are interesting nonetheless. Check out the clarity of the hippo's eye. So, how does it work? Well, you need a light source like an oven light, a silver pan with water filled about a quarter of the way, a spoon or something to stir the water with, and a phone to take photos mid-action. Let's look at the grizzly bear I got. I agitated the water, I took photos on live, so I'm going through them frame by frame until I see something recognizable. The ancient Greeks, Egyptians, Nubians, and other cultures used water bowls for hydromancy. Kennis suggests this is a type of spooky action at a distance, where particles are entangled and the images photographed are the view of the entangled particle, which could be thousands of miles away or even in a different realm. The first time I saw photos like these, I thought they were
Hydromancy. Like necromancy, but hydromancy. How terrifying is that? It looks like a pig/human hybrid, doesn't it?
You don't recognize him anymore. That's because he killed the version of himself who used to care too much. He's colder now, sharper, not broken, just done explaining. He moves different, doesn't argue, doesn't wait. You'll feel the distance before he speaks. He learned that peace is better than proving a point. And now, he's too focused to be distracted, too strong to be shaken. You don't recognize him anymore.
That's deep.
Welcome to Starbucks. Ready to get your day started? Let's get you something to sip on. Every day they line up, one by one, for a sweet, sugary, caffeinated drink to start their day. We have all the flavors and sweeteners you can imagine. Have as much as you would like. Let's spike your sugar so you crash super hard. Don't forget to grab some food. We have some sweet cake pops or tasty croissants. So much sugar, you need it. Too lazy to come inside? Don't worry. We have a full-service drive-thru that can get you anything you desire. Are you getting the itch? The craving? Come back to me. I'm waiting.
What's up with her tongue? What was she working on, man? What type of demonic possession was that?
They are deceiving you. So did you know that the Starbucks logo is not just an ordinary logo? It's a siren. At first glance, it looks like a mermaid, a lady with a crown and a tail. But have you ever wondered why Starbucks chose a siren as their emblem? In ancient Greek mythology, sirens were mystical creatures known for their enchanting voices. They would lure sailors towards them, mesmerizing them with their singing, only to lead them to their doom, and they would steal their souls. Now, isn't it intriguing that Starbucks, a global coffee giant, uses this very symbol to attract customers? The siren's image is employed to draw you in, just like the sailors were drawn in by their songs. It gets even crazy. Fast food chains have catchy tunes that stick in your mind, urging you to remember their brand. McDonald's has I'm Lovin' It, Burger King has Have It Your Way, and Subway has Eat Fresh, but have you ever heard a Starbucks jingle? And here, the theory takes a dark twist. Starbucks doesn't need a jingle, because the siren symbol is so powerful, drawing people in without them even realizing it, just like it did to sailors long ago. The logo's magic makes customers come back every day, lining up for their coffee. It's like people are hypnotized, their very souls hooked on their Starbucks fix. The next time you sip your latte, remember the siren and its ancient powers. Fascinating marketing strategy.
I don't get it. Is it really that good? Do you guys get Starbucks? What do you normally order? Is it great? Do you recommend it or do you not? I always thought it was like super expensive place, so I always like make my own coffee if I gotta have it.
This lady in Congress apparently was suing Starbucks because they weren't listing the ingredients on their drinks.
Oh gosh.
And the pumpkin spice latte had the active ingredient of ammonia in it.
Oh!
Why?
They use it for food coloring.
No
to make it orange. Yeah. So
there's gotta be a better way.
Europe, they list the ingredients and they use, I believe, carrot or beets or something. It's like a natural food coloring. But the US Starbucks was using an ingredient that included ammonia in the pumpkin spice lattes to make them orange.
This is from yahoo.com. It says there's no pumpkin in it. However, the latte included 2 doses of caramel color level 4 with ammonia and contains the substance for methylamidazole.
What are we doing? Yeah, why?
Well, I wonder why everyone because we're drinking.
Yeah, and that's on purpose. That has to be on purpose.
Yeah, because it's the cheaper option.
And there's no way they just cut it out. It's the middle of fall. You know how many millions of gallons they have of that stuff, probably? They're not getting rid of it.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I got pumpkin spice lattes.
Says 85% of the people on the planet are followers. 10% of the people on the planet are creators or leaders. And 5% of the people are observers. So when you got 85% of the people who are willing to follow, the 10% who are able to create something are going to capitalize off of that. And the 5% are usually the ones who are assassinated or shunned or discredited because they can see everything that's going on. And they would ruin it all for the 10%. So the reason why it's so easy to do that is because people are willing to be led. I think
it's almost like the 5% are the normal ones, and then you just got everyone else. NPCs or from the Cabbage Patch lineage.
Artificial humans and clones. Some people have no soul. As some of you may be aware, at these world fairs, they had so-called premature babies on display. But now we know that they was artificial humans. Mechanical mother. All the world loves a baby. But at what cost? These children was being produced in the hundreds and thousands. You all remember the story of Frankenstein. They always tell you in the movies of what they're really doing. But the only true problem with Frankenstein is he had no true emotions because he had no soul.
Maybe that's why some people could just be out cold. If they're from the NPC Cabbage Patch lineage, they can do terrible things without any type of emotion, like not holding the door or saying thank you.
People on this planet are actually tied into hell and the underworld.
Wow.
And then that allows this force to feed on them. That's the problem we have. And guess what? It's also feeding off the planet because originally we did not have any deserts at all. Deserts are where this consciousness is actually tied into the planet and feeding off of it.
Really?
It's
So
harvested.
Vegas.
Yes. Here. That's why I don't ever usually stay in the desert.
A lot of spiritual people hate Vegas.
Yeah, because it's tied to the Vega star system. And what it does is this force attracts all these people here through lust and all of their, quote, sin karma, and it feeds off of them. That's what
Gambling,
it does.
alcohol.
Yes, addiction. Remember, they tie in first to the lower chakra system.
They got a
Chakra,
lot
the
of
sacral
ways
chakra.
to attack people, right?
Yeah, very much. Because people have not elevated their consciousness. And then these beings also use the money system. And they use a lot of systems on our planet to keep people unconscious. And it's a force. And again, this force, it's these, what you would call the demons, the archons, they're all part of this force. The Watiko, there's different names, like I said, Jinn, are all part of this force. It's harvesting the planet right now. That's the big problem. That's what the ETs told me. So then it created pollution. Do you know why it created pollution? Because our planet spins in a divine symphony. That way it's connected to the higher realms to protect all life on this planet. However, what it did is it came through, infected certain people and used them to create chemicals and pollution.
This is why the Mandela effect is real. Why do you think they put this theory out? Because I think that if you can change history, you can control people, you can control anything. If certain people are remembering certain things, like, wait, that wasn't like that, then people start questioning everything. Then everybody's a skeptic. If you have people who don't believe anything at that point, I think CERN is behind that. I think CERN is behind the Mandela effect because ever since they fired it up, certain things have been not what they seemed back in the past. Certain people have died, certain people didn't die. And you know what's funny? I did a live last night and I asked that very question and a lot of people were saying the same thing. They wake up at 3 a.m. and it's like an ongoing thing.
I think it's in the phones too.
The phones,
the
frequencies.
That, I mean, they put out a declassified document.
Yeah,
we're basically showing they use frequencies to control it.
This is why the Mandela effect is real.
Why is this ancient Egyptian doorway over 62 feet high? Why did the Egyptians depict many giant beings in their iconography? It's almost as if they were trying to tell us something. Why were all of their massive statues and sculptures huge, giant people? These doorways were never built for an average size human being. In fact, there's doorways all over the world that pretty much tell us giants, Nephilim used to roam this earth, just like our Bible told us, just like all of our ancestors told us. You see, our real history has been covered up. It's been erased. You've been lied to about everything your whole entire life. Giants used to roam this earth. The earth is flat, and Tartaria was a very real civilization. Peace and love. Why is this ancient Egyptian doorway over 62 feet high?
Giant. That's the answer. Giant.
When jealous people visit your house gets an evil eye. Here's how you'll know. 1. Lights flicker without reason. 2. Mirrors crack or glass breaks. 3. Plants wither. Pets grow restless. 4. You start arguing over nothing. 5. Your sleep becomes disturbed, heavy, foggy. But the truth is that energy doesn't just cling to the walls. It clings to you. Your thoughts shift. Your mood sinks. Your mind gets foggy.
Oh, so we just go ignore how the Jetsons predicted the future? This cartoon debuted in 1962. Them boys was already rocking the smartwatches in 1962, bro. Talking on it and everything, just like people do to this day. And don't forget about the flat TVs. In 1962, they already had the idea of flat TVs, bro. His wife is looking at a flat TV. She even got the ones that's hanging coming down, just like the ones in the gym. And don't forget about the voice-activated Alexa, the same Alexa that we listening to today with the voice. Yeah, that was in the Jetsons. They was even doing FaceTime. They already had the idea of the video chat since 1962, bro. And if you look at the intro, you will see they got FaceTime portable devices. Look at these boys. They look like guns, right? But these are portable devices. They FaceTiming somebody. Look at the other dude. That's a portable device, FaceTiming somebody. Look at this dude right here, FaceTiming. So these are basically tablets, bro. They already knew and had the idea before it even came about. What the hell she got on? Bro, why her legs and her body look like a damn Tootsie Roll lollipop? The Jetsons are not as innocent as you think. Before they came to this planet, it was already ran by robots and technology. The problem was these robots didn't know how to work. So that's when they created human beings. The Flintstones was created not to live life, but to build for these robots. When you see a dinosaur on Flintstone moving that rock with his head, that's not just him being worked by Flintstone. That's Flintstone being worked by these robots to build this city. So the Flintstones was successful with this. They built the city exactly how the robots wanted it. The Flintstones built the city with the help of the technology given by the robots. This is how the Flintstones was able to watch TV. There was no electricity in those times. But thanks to the technology of the robots, they was allowed to do this. This is why grabbing the family and going to the movies was a big thing, because this represented their break from all the hard labor that they was doing. Once the city was built, the fate of these humans that they created, they assassinated them all. The robots was just using the humans to create this city. Now that they assassinated all the creatures and human beings that they created, they started to welcome themselves in their new city. The problem is they was being watched this whole time and they didn't even know it. What you're watching is the intro of the Jetsons. What you're seeing is the Jetsons making their move, coming to this planet after the robots assassinated the human beings. And after that, that's when they make their move to take over this planet. The Jetsons was not humans, but aliens disguised as the same people they seen assassinated by these robots. The Jetsons completely took over the planet and made these robots their slaves. They turned them into maids trying to live the same lifestyle as the Flintstones. So now the robots are slaves, with them using sorcery and magic. Just look at their eyes, bro. Why would a robot have red eyes if it mean no harm? Now look at this one. This is the other robot. Bro, if these robots supposedly supposed to be maids for the Jetsons, then why in the hell they look so demonic and evil? Then there's the other one, which is the one they chose to be the maid for their house. Also has red eyes. Why, bro?
Here I am, sir. Yes, sir.
So now that the Jetsons took over this planet, they're going to now create their own civilization, which is why you don't see nobody flying with them or around them. Look, bro, there's no one in the sky but them. He dropped them off at school. Look, there's no one. Then you got the daughter. She get dropped off, right? Look, there's no one, just them. And the same thing with the mother or wife or whatever. You don't start seeing people until at the end of this intro, which represents that they created this civilization.
You see how she took the wallet and he took the couple bucks to himself? Oh my goodness.
So the conclusion is that the Jetsons took advantage of these robots, waited until they wiped out the Flintstones, took over the planet and made the robots slaves, and now trying to portray themselves living as the same lifestyle as the Flintstones was. Dang, that's cold-blooded.
How cool would it be if they made a live action Jetson movie? That might be actually hot.
The government may have captured someone from beyond the ice wall.
So the government captured one of these native Antarctic people, or Agarthians as you call them, and interrogated them in this rogue country within Antarctica for decades, right? Of course they captured one of the natives. How else were they supposed to get any information on the place? Look, regardless, the things that they found out in the conversations that followed suit, right, were just, it puts history in a different perspective. Let's put it that way. Wait, they were talking to this person? Well, I mean, wouldn't these people speak their own language? Buddy, just because they have their own native language doesn't mean they don't understand others as well. Look, after they detained him, right, they figured he was going to speak in some kind of uninterpretable tongue, so they sent in a linguistic expert by the name of Pete Richards to do the interrogation, right? And so Pete sits there asking him all kinds of different questions, right, about their society, about who they are. But the guy just wouldn't say a thing. He was completely silent, right? Up until the point where Pete pulled out these pictures the agency had taken of this country's pyramids, right? And he sets the picture down as he says, can you tell me about these? The guy didn't really budge, right? Like he didn't want to engage. And so Pete says, listen, we've seen structures like this before. He pulls out an image of the pyramids from ancient Egypt and shows it to him. And for the first time, the guy's expression just completely shifts, right? Like he was seeing something that he'd somehow seen before. And as he's staring at the image, he goes, second. Pete's just shocked this guy had finally spoke, right? And as he's just staring at him, a higher-up agent in the room quickly says, Pete, what the hell's that mean? And with a kind of just wide-eyed, shocked expression of disbelief, Pete says, it's Egyptian.
Hey, weird.
It means old friend.
Government may have captured someone from beyond the ice wall.
How are they called Agarthians? Isn't that when it's inside Hollow Earth? A Mercury Tartarian train. Let's dive into this.
Uploaded an image of this train. It was accused of being AI and fake. But a simple Google search will tell you that the steamliner Mercury train was in fact very real. And it was in operation right up until 1959. So really not even that long ago. And while its first service was in 1936, I wonder if it was simply a recreation of pre-reset old world technology. As a lot of Art Deco and steampunk styles could come from the Tartarian era. And if you're familiar with Tartaria, then you're probably already aware of the idea that a lot of rail tracks were simply dug up and found and not laid by us, because an advanced civilization already existed prior to us. And as you can see, the interior of these trains were far more spacious and comfortable than the cramped modern forms of transport.
Kinda reminds me of that movie Snowpiercer. How disturbing is that?
Why were these grand buildings in Chicago demolished after only a mere few decades? All this effort to construct something, only to tear it down 23 years later? And people actually believe these narratives. And that's not even to mention all the old world structures that existed prior to the Great Fire of Chicago. Back when basically every building there resembled something from a fairy tale. And of course that Great Fire was allegedly started by a cow kicking over a lantern. But it looks more like the result of being carpet bombed. Was it all a controlled demolition to cover up the old world? Along with the destruction of the so-called World Fair, Chicago is referred to as Chalaga on old maps after all. Was even the so-called more modern buildings just found that way, unable to be destroyed by the fires?
My biggest thing is why tear them down? They could be still occupied or have some use.
This is the only proof that parallel realities can be accessed through sound, and it's absolutely terrifying. In 1987, in the town of Millfield, Ohio, acoustic engineer Dexter Halperin began a private experiment in his basement. He believed certain sound frequencies could alter the perception of matter, but what he discovered went far beyond that. Recently declassified reports show that everything spiraled out of control. For weeks, Dexter recorded anomalous patterns, changes in air density, objects vibrating on their own, and a sound that seemed to come from inside the wall. Soon after, neighbors reported motionless figures staring through his windows, and voices whispering incomprehensible words from the basement, even when Dexter wasn't home. At night, the entire block was filled with the smell of burning iron. A researcher from the local university, intrigued, decided to investigate. When she entered the basement, the equipment was still running, but Dexter was standing there, staring at her in silence. The problem? He wasn't blinking, he wasn't breathing. And the latest recording, captured by the machines, featured a voice identical to Dexter's, saying, "Now I see." This is the only proof that parallel realities can be accessed through sound.
That's all we have for today's video. If you made it this far, the code word today is Tuesday Dive. Go ahead and drop Tuesday Dive in the comments below. When you do that, that lets me know you're a real one. You made it all the way through the video, and I just want to say thank you. I love you guys, and your support means the world to me. This was the most disturbing videos on the internet today. See you tomorrow.